Hello, welcome to Acoustic Spotlight, the program that profiles performers of acoustic music. I'm your host, Rich Pietrzak. Today's spotlight falls on Orlando singer-songwriter Garrison Doles.
A Florida state line, holding up a big sign, grinning at the tourist, a middle finger in the air. I am not hostile, well maybe just a little, and all of these people seem to be coming from everywhere. I know we've got some lovely weather and lots of lakes and streams, Atlantic Ocean and suntan lotion and parks just bursting with themes. All this hospitality got you thinking about finality, thinking if I lived here I'd be home now, but you're not. No, you're not, 'cause you don't live here and you're gonna have to go away. All this humanity, this cannot be sanity. Please pardon my profanity, but darn it, some of you people gotta go back home. You gotta go back home. You can't just keep coming down here and not leaving. Down at the airport, got your passport, just a visit. Now that's a temporary stay. Return ticket in your pocket. But do not lose it, 'cause you're gonna have to go away. I know we've got some lovely beaches and got the Gulf of Mexico. Fishing and a boating and into floating, and there's no nicer place to go. All this hospitality got you thinking about finality. You're thinking, if I lived here, I'd be home now. But you're not. No, you're not. 'Cause you don't live here, and you're gonna have to go away. Don't even think about loading up that rider truck with all your stuff and bringing it down, 'cause you know, we already got a lot of stuff. You got all those kids and dogs and cats and cousins. I bet you're thinking about bringing your mother-in-law, and you know we already got plenty of mother-in-laws. And how about that Uncle George of yours? You know, he's just not right.
Greatness doesn't care how early it is or how late. Greatness doesn't care if anyone's watching. Greatness doesn't care about your clothes, your hair, or your music. The only thing greatness cares about is getting an opportunity. Where will you get yours? At UCF, we believe no dream is too big and no goal out of reach. On the fields, the courts, and in the classrooms, UCF stands for opportunity.
We're back with Garrison Doles. Garrison, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Rich. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you could make it down.
Yeah.
It's a rollicking way to start the show off. But tell me, how do you really feel about Florida's tourists?
Well, you know, I love the tourists. But, you know, the number that's been going around for about 20 years now is that something like 800 people a day move to Florida and stay here. I mean, they don't just come and visit, they stay here. And that's 800 a day. So I just, you know, I found myself wondering where I was going to go when the state got full of people, you know, maybe Guatemala or somewhere, because I can't go north because I made a rule in my life that I was never going to buy snow tires. So I can't go north, and I'm never going to have a drawer full of long underwear either.
Yeah.
So that's where that song came from. I'm not really hostile, as long as they leave. I love having them come down. Of course, I wasn't born in Florida either. My sweetheart was. She's a Florida native, but I moved to Florida when I was 9 years old. So, but then I wanted them to close the border behind me and not let anybody else move in.
That was enough, right?
Yeah.
And when did you start to play the guitar?
When did I start that? Well, let's see. I guess I was about 13, 12 or 13, and I had an old Silvertone guitar handed down to me from one of my uncles. And there were a couple of guys I knew that had guitars that had been handed down to them from somewhere, brothers or something, and we just started teaching each other a little bit, and we thought we could meet a lot of girls that way or something, and which is why everybody, of course, that's why all guys start playing the guitar or the trumpet or anything else. So that's kind of where I started.
You're the first performer we've had on our series to actually play two instruments, the harmonica and the guitar. And from a person who has a hard time walking and chewing gum at the same time, I'm curious how difficult it is to do that.
Well, it's for me. I don't even hardly think about it. Harmonica is such a intuitional sort of instrument. I just play it really by feel, and I've been doing it a long time. And that's something I started out when I was a kid. I mean, I started, you got a Bob Dylan poster over here. Well, that's, when I was 15 years old, I was sitting in my room listening to Blonde on Blonde, and I had the harmonica rack and the guitar, and it sounded pretty awful because, when you play guitar, you have to go through this phase of where it really sounds awful, and it's sort of a threshold you have to struggle over to get past that, and once you add a harmonica to that, it really gets ugly, and it was ugly for a while, but the harmonica just comes so naturally to me that I don't have I don't even think about it really, until the rack gets caught up in my guitar strap or something, and then a circus ensues at that point, as I try chasing the harmonica around my neck.
When did you start to write your own material?
Well, I wrote poetry when I was a kid. When I was, I think the first poems that are recorded from my hand was when I was about 7 or 8 years old. So it was a natural thing for me to start writing songs when I started playing. I mean, at first, obviously, I played a lot of everybody else's songs. That's how you learn. But it was a pretty natural thing that I started in almost immediately writing songs. It was a while before I got them to the point where I was willing to let anybody hear them. Yeah. So it was pretty young.
You mentioned Dylan. Any other influences that come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot. Dylan was a real early influence. Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen were kind of where I really came from. That, and I think of myself as more of a poet than as a musician. I know musicians. I know some fine musicians, and I know what they do, and what they do is a little different. They come from a different place than I do. Because I really started out with that Bob Dylan poetry, and the music is a part of that. It isn't that the words go to the music. It's that the music is a part of the poetry, is a part of the lyric, part of the storytelling.
From knowing you previously, that you are a great storyteller, and a lot of those songs, definitely there's a background there in that poetic storytelling nature. So.
Yeah, and I have a background in theater as well, so that I've done acting and directing, and I've written for the theatrical stage as well, and to me it's all about finding different ways to tell the stories, different ways to find the stories, and different ways to convey them, and to in this time that we live in, where there's lots of television around and lots of movies and things like that. I think the idea of live performance and live storytelling, which is what song is, and what theater is, and what poetry is, and the storytelling, the actual spoken word. that's a rare and wonderful thing in this world that we live in.
Yeah. Well, would you grace us with another number?
Sure, that's what I came for.
All right, and what are you going to do?
I'm going to do a song called, a song that I wrote for my sweetheart. It's called My Only Ever One.
All right, sounds good. All right, we'll be right back with another song from Garrison Doles.
When JetBlue chose Orlando for its new flight training center, the presence of UCF strongly influenced their decision. The results? An investment of $160 million and 150 new jobs. UCF stands for opportunity.
Poured a wine upon my lips. She kissed me till I swooned. Her fingers trace across my brow, and I am not the man I was before. She reached down deep inside, and I do not try to hide. I surrender it all. Serenade me with her eyes, the music of her smile. Rock me gently in her arms until I know that I am home. She soothes me in a way that I am bound to say I have never known before. And all these gifts she freely gives to me. She's my sweetheart, my only ever one. Poured a wine upon my lips. She kissed me till I swooned. Fingers trace across my brow, and I am not the man I was before. She reached down deep inside, and I do not try to hide. I surrender it all. And all these gifts she freely gives to me. She's my sweetheart, my only ever one. She's my sweetheart, my only ever one. My only ever one. My only ever one. Quietly, quietly, stand and abide. Your hour of toil is not here. In gladness and sorrow the story is told, and witnessed through laughter and tears. And here is a man, patient and steady. He wants to be ready, he wants to be true. by the faith of his heart. He does what he knows that a man has to do. All I am is a stone in the river, rest in the river, as still as a stone. All I am is a stone in the river. I am not the river, I am ever and only a stone. Be still, be still, stand your ground, turn not your face away, and wait in the wind and the weather, washed by the light of the day. And here is a man doing his part, deep in his heart he wants to be brave. By the blood of his veins, by the hope of his spirit, in the hour of courage he looks to be saved. All I am is a stone in the river, at rest in the river, as still as a stone. All I am is a stone in the river, I am not the river, I am ever and only a stone. All I am is a stone in the river, at rest in the river, as still as a stone. All I am is a stone in the river, I am not the river, I am ever and only a stone.
So in 1975, the United States ranked third in the world in percentage. Must be the new guy. Guess you can say I was with you guys the whole time. New guy.
UCF and the Central Florida Research Park have helped create 41,000 jobs and contributed about $3.3 billion to the regional economy.
3, and that's only new girl.
So if it seems like your company's growing, it probably is. UCF stands for opportunity.
Quietly, quietly, stand and abide. Your hour of toil is not here.
We're back on Acoustic Spotlight with Garrison Doles. Garrison, a little change of tempo there, but both very pretty songs. Can you tell me, talk a little bit about Hymn of the Stone?
Well, the Hymn of the Stone is, it's a song that, well, I could talk a lot about that song, but I won't. It's I think of it as kind of a Buddhist hymn, I guess, or it's a song about being in the world, but not letting the world push you around. About being in the world, but not feeling like you have to react to it or control it. About feeling the power of that, and the freedom of that letting go. Of that letting go of things, and letting what will happen. I wrote that song driving in my truck one day.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I love the a cappella part there.
Oh.
That's really nice.
Well, when I wrote it, it was all a cappella because I wasn't playing the guitar.
You're right.
But
that could be a little dangerous, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of those. Sometimes you have the experience with a song that it takes a long time to write. I mean, it takes, it can literally take hours, and sometimes it stretches out over a period of days or weeks before you finish it. But that's one that I sort of I have this vague recollection. It seems like, I know this can't be true, but it seems like I just wrote it in about an hour. Or almost just as fast as I could write it down. It was one of those songs like that.
Do you have a process that you force yourself to spend some time, every day writing, or do you just do it kind of as you feel?
Well, I wouldn't say I force myself every day. I don't have that sort of regular, I don't sort of set time aside and say now from 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock in the afternoon I'm going to write. But I do try to build songwriting into my life, and I look for projects to write for, things that and deadlines, because deadlines are what really, I mean, you can have ideas about a song for quite a while, but if you know there's somewhere that you need to have this song ready to play for this certain date in this certain place, then that's, that can build a little fire under you and gets me going at that point. So I'm always looking for projects that I can write for specifically, and that helps sort of keep me from sliding, or hitting that spell where I look back and realize, I haven't written anything for a month or something like that.
Do you find yourself performing live frequently? How often do you get out there?
Not as often as I'd like. I have a 12-year-old son, so I'm not available to take it out on the road right now, to go out to touring, and the only way to really have a lot of dates to play is to be out touring around, because I don't play bars and restaurants. I really only play in concert type settings, either house concerts, small intimate concerts in someone's home, or larger venues. But I really, I spent I don't know, 15 years of my life or so playing in bars and restaurants, and I realized that those people came to eat and drink. They didn't come to listen to music, and which is fine. I'm a big fan of eating and drinking, but I just found that I wanted to have for me, performing as a dialogue between the performer and the audience, and I wanted to have that dialogue. So I don't play bars and restaurants, and there's a limited amount of opportunity within the area to play in concert settings. So I look forward to being able to get out on the road more, though, as my son gets older. Then.
Right. Well, I happen to have a recording here, and this is Garrison Doles' latest recording. That's available on cdbaby.com. When did you? That's about a year.
I would say it's a year old. And that's a CD of that's a disc that was made from recordings of live. I set up 3 live concerts, house concerts to do, that we were going to record, and with the idea that I'd record all 3 concerts and then pick the best cuts out of that and put a live CD together, and that has some of the songs I played today here on it.
All right, well, how about one more for us?
I'd be happy to. I got a good one for you. As a matter of fact, it's the one I end that CD with. It's kind of a psalm. It's not the psalm you hear on Sunday morning preached in the church, but it's a psalm. It's called "I Could Tell It Was on Your Mind."
All right, well, we'll be right back with another one from Garrison Doles.
The new UCF College of Medicine will help Florida get all the doctors it needs. But until then, be extra careful. UCF stands for opportunity.
Well, that's our show for today. I'd like to thank Garrison Doles for stopping in and playing for us, and thank you for tuning in. Garrison's going to lead us out with one more song, and we'll see you next time on Acoustic Spotlight.
I rose from my bed this morning under a terrible curse. Bad as it was at the outset, hour by hour it only got worse. I know that somewhere there's a fellow without any feet. I am only a man without shoes. I don't see how my wealth of extremity is gonna keep me from singing the blues. Haven't I always tried to be faithful? Haven't I always tried to be true? Heaven, I always said just show me the way. Not a hint, not a word, not a clue. Thank you, God, for this bread on my table, for this back-breaking work that I find. Thank you, God, for not taking my life today. I could tell it was on your mind. Ain't no way, no how. Ain't no how, no way. Ain't no way, no how. Come back another day. I got mud in my eyes. It's the dirt and the tears. Still I got to try, see my way clear. Any day above ground is a good day. I will carry that belief to my grave. Don't try to bury me on a Monday. I can't swear that I will behave. We are made for this day-to-day slaughter, be shattered and spattered with grime. Well, I would not win breath on complaining. It would just be a waste of my time. Yeah, but I always tried to be faithful. Yeah, but I always tried to be true. Yeah, but I always said just show me the way. Not a hint, not a word, not a clue. Thank you, God, for this bread on my table, for this back-breaking work that I find. Thank you, God, for not taking my life today. I could tell it was on your mind. Ain't no way, no how. Ain't no how, no way. Ain't no way, no how. Come back another day. I got mud in my eyes. It's the dirt and the tears. Still I got to try, see my way clear. Thank you, God, for this bread on my table, for this soul-crushing work that I find. Thank you, God, for not taking my life today. I could tell it was on your mind. Thank you, God, for not taking my life